what we're going to do is give you a little demonstration of the basic knit stitch. So I'm just going to switch over right here and we're going to show you right here when it stops bouncing up and down. Kim's going to go run off and get Tula Pink. I'm trying to wrap my arms around this without it being in the way. So I've done a few rows of knit stitch right here just to get me started, but I want to show you the knit stitch. So you have your work in your left hand, your working yarn is in your right hand. When you're doing a knit stitch, you're going to go in to the front of the stitch from the left to the right. See that? The front of the stitch from the left to the right. You make sure it goes all the way through. See that? And then you're going to take your working yarn here and you are going to wrap it around your right needle from the back of your work, around the front of your right needle and around to the back of your right needle. So you're wrapping it all the way around, and then you will pull your right needle through the loop of the left stitch. And so this is your working yarn. You are creating a new stitch by wrapping your working yarn around this needle through your stitch on the left needle that's already completed. And then you drop this stitch off and you've created a new stitch. So again, knit stitch, working yarn in your right hand. You're going to go into the stitch on the left needle on the front of the stitch from the left to the right. You're going to wrap your working yarn from the back of the right needle around the front of the right needle and to sit it in the back again, and then you're going to pull your right needle tip through this loop created by the existing stitch, and this is your working yarn that you wrapped around becomes your new stitch, and your existing stitch will be slipped off the needle, the left needle, to come below. So now we just created this stitch right here out of the previous stitch. This was the stitch that came off this left needle. The stitch came off the left needle and this was wound around it to incorporate this into this stitch below to make this new stitch. So this becomes your live stitch and this becomes your row below now. So again, right needle into the front of the left stitch from left to right, yarn around from the back across and back to the back again, and then the right needle comes through this loop and you pull the stitch off the left needle and that becomes the row below. That's what you just pulled off your left needle, but you created the new stitch by wrapping the working yarn. So again, go in from left to right, wrap your yarn, pull through the loop and take your stitch off the left. These are all the live stitches I just created with my working yarn, and these are all the stitches that I took from the left needle. Again, from left to right, around, and I'll tilt this so you can see that it goes all the way around right here, all the way around this needle, and then this pulls through this loop that we've created from the left stitch. Again, left to right, all the way around and back through. Does anybody have any questions about that? If you do, let me know. Do you have any questions about that, Kim?
No, not right this second.
Does it look clear enough for you?
It does.
Yeah? Easy to see?
Easy to see.
Okay, folks, so that's your knit stitch. Very straightforward stitch, but as I say, sometimes when you take a class, you get home and you can't remember what the heck you were doing. So we just did that to remind you.
Show them the fabric that you've made now. It's just all knit stitches.
All knit stitches, back and front.
And people call that
Garter stitch.
There you go.
Garter stitch is when you knit every single row backwards and forwards. Garter stitch. So that's what we just did today. Mary